I've been back on the island of Skiathos now for about 4 days, and in part 2 of my return, I'm going to be looking at basically what you can expect from your holiday resort with regards to your accommodation, your beaches, your restaurants and your nightlife. I'll also be looking at basically what steps, procedures and measures the island have taken in these COVID times to ensure you have a safe return to the island.
On leaving the airport, you may first need to drop off your bag with a luggage delivery driver who'll be wearing protective gloves and mask. On entering the bus, you may notice many seats are blocked off because basically buses in Greece can only operate to 65% capacity now. On arrival at your hotel, the first thing you'll sadly notice is no more luggage porters. Receptions now have perspex screens and all staff in the hotel must wear face protection. Rooms must be fully deep cleaned between guests and a period of minimum 4 hours allowed before new guests to check in, but ideally left for a whole day. Buffets will no longer be self-service and staff will now plate up your food from behind perspex screens. All drinks, be it in the bar or the restaurant, will now only be served to your tables. Around the pool area, some beds between groups should be at least 2 metres apart and towels should be used at all times. Visitors to your hotel room are strictly forbidden and hotel staff will only enter when you're not there. Maid service is reduced or on demand only. Towel and linen changes will also only be on demand. You'll also find your room will have minimal decor to avoid touch points. Kids clubs will operate at reduced capacity and your child's temperature may be checked on entry. And finally, you'll find hand sanitising stations all around the hotel. Following my visit to the Skiathos Palace, I then went to the Skiathos Princess, where the concierge there kindly offered to show me around and what measures they'd put in place. They had pretty much implemented the same things, as all hotels now have to follow strict government guidelines. But a few of the things they told me about were things like Rex folders are now kept behind reception and sun lounges are wiped down after every use.
But for smaller complexes like Jimmy's Studios here in Paris-Cavie, what does it all mean for them? Now, at first glance, nothing seems to have changed from last year.
However, they too have to adhere to the same set of rules as the big hotels, such as cleaning and distancing around pool areas. But for places like this, maid service, linen services and towel changes will in most cases be on demand. Some places may not offer a late checkout option due to the amount of hours needed between guests arriving and departing. In addition, some pool bars may only open limited hours. But with half the season gone and bookings thin on the ground, some hotels and businesses have just simply decided to wait for next year to reopen. For the busier places that are open, like the biggest supermarkets in town, face masks must be worn at all times, and you can even get fined for not wearing them. They also have like big perspex screens, but personally you may want to stick to the smaller, quieter supermarkets and resort.
And what about your beach experience? Well, I've come down to the biggest and busiest beach on the island at Skiathos to find out. Well, the good news is some beds are at least 2 metres apart and all the beachfront restaurants, all the staff do seem to be wearing gloves and masks.
And while some places seem to have their social distancing just right, others maybe not so. However, for me, the best option I can see is to get your food and drink delivered to your sunbed. If you're looking for a quieter beach though, they can be found, like the one here at Skiathos. But what about dining out? It's Saturday night and I've come to my favourite restaurant in Troolos, where normally in July you need to book well in advance and the bar will be buzzing. But sadly, tonight I'm dining alone. But as more and more UK flights come here, it won't be long before this place is busier once again. It's Saturday night though, and I've come into town as all the resort bars are fairly quiet.
The town though, is a different story.
It's July and the busiest night of the week down here on the port, and even though it's a lot quieter than usual, the place is still a buzzing hive of activity. The good news is, all the bars we went to, the staff were wearing face masks and gloves. The bad news is, social distancing is sometimes a bit of a challenge. But after a fun Saturday night out, what's better than spending your Sunday on a lazy day cruise? I popped along and spoke to the guys on the Calypso cruise, who even in these difficult times are still running trips to Skiathos and around the island. To allow for social distancing, they're only operating now up to a maximum of 50% capacity. You'll find hand sanitizer station and all the important parts of the boats like seats etc. will be fully cleaned after each cruise. To get booked onto the boat, you're probably going to want to speak to your friendly rep. But just what sort of service can you expect from your tour operator in resort now?
Even before COVID, a lot of holiday companies were pulling away from the traditional style of service of your welcome meeting, your reps sat in hotels and reps on transfers, and moving their in-resort service online to a more social digital platform. One example of this is Olympic Holidays' Hangout on Holiday app.
The app is designed to give you all the information you would have previously had in your welcome meeting or folder, such as island, resort information, car hire, and basic places to eat and drink. But you can also communicate with your rep by phone, live chat, or even email. There's also local weather, and there's even an area where you can chat and meet with other people staying on holiday at the same time as you.
There will still be an in-resort service. You'll just more likely make an appointment with rep on a one-to-one basis now, where they'll come down and meet you in a safe social environment. But with COVID and social distancing pushing us ever quicker into a digital age, sadly the days of the good old welcome meeting and hotel visits are definitely numbered.
But if you're one of those people that just likes to do your own thing, you'll probably end up using the local bus service. I jumped on board with my legally required face mask just to find out what the buses were like now. I spoke to the driver, who said they were only supposed to be operating to 65% capacity, but they are putting on extra buses to try and avoid the overcrowding. But for those who don't feel comfortable using the public bus in these COVID times, the next best option is renting a car, and despite low numbers on the island, car rental seems to be good at the moment. If you've hired a car, you'll probably want to go exploring. So what about the tourist sites? Well, most seem to be open, but you'll still need to social distance, and places like museums and gift shops, you'll still be expected to wear a face mask. Sadly though, the tourist favourite water taxis are not running at the moment. However, there are rumours the one in Kukanaris might start from August. There are still the regular taxis though, which you may want to use to get to the airport. Guidelines say the driver and you must wear face masks, and only people from your direct group can travel in the car together. At the airport, you'll find check-in staff will check you in from behind perspex screen wearing gloves and masks. You'll also find social distancing is enforced, and the long snake queues now are in place by single lane channels. I was advised by airport staff that at peak times, to allow social distancing, some people may be required to queue outside. Finally, don't forget you'll need to fill out your online UK passenger locator form at least 48 hours before you return to the UK.
Now sadly I can't actually show you through security because, luckily, well, I'm not leaving the island just yet. The island at the moment though only has a few hundred Brits on it, but those numbers will increase come next month when the number of flights per week doubles from 6 to 12.
Fortunately, the island not had a single confirmed case of coronavirus, but I've come to Skiathos Emergency Medical Centre to find out basically what will happen if that fateful day ever comes. They told me there is an empty isolated apartment complex set up ready as a coronavirus clinic to quarantine and treat anyone that tests positive for the virus. There is also a second complex on standby that they hope they'll never need. Anyone that develops life-threatening symptoms will be transferred to the intensive care unit at Volos Hospital, just a short boat ride away.
Now I've been really impressed by what I've seen in regards to the COVID measures taken here, especially in the hotels. And yes, the town is busy, but if you pick and choose your restaurants and bars carefully, you can social distance safely during your stay. The people of Skiathos are hoping that once word spreads that this is a safe holiday island to return to, people will book for the second half of the summer. And once again, full plane loads of Brits will land at the airport here. But until then, Skiathos is waiting.